Here's Governor Rick Snyder's response to the charges being filed against those three employees, basically of the state of Michigan.
Taking out a commercial break just because we want to catch every bit of this. This is the governor there in Michigan, Rick Snyder, responding to these now criminal charges related to what happened in
Flint from the beginning. If these accusations are correct, this would take it to a whole new level. And one of the things we clearly want to pursue is the truth. The citizens of Michigan deserve it. The citizens of Flint deserve it. We've been fully cooperating with this investigation and will continue to do so. We'll pursue any wrongdoing and hold people accountable. Already today, Director Cray has suspended without pay the two individuals that work for the state of Michigan. In terms of the context of that, we have some constraints on our actions due to civil service. With respect to Director Cray himself, when he was appointed to head the DEQ, he made sure that the people that are mentioned in these charges were not involved with the Flint water situation anymore. In addition, Director Cray asked the Michigan State Police to investigate employees involved in the Flint water crisis and the DEQ. And that investigation has been ongoing and has been focused in on looking for any potential cases of misconduct and will be continuing through this process. He's actually asked the state police to incorporate any new evidence that may be coming out of the investigations that is going on with the Attorney General. One of the other things I'd want to note is we have tens of thousands of dedicated, hardworking state employees, and I hope this doesn't put a tarnish on the great work they're doing every day to serve the citizens of Michigan. I very much appreciate their hard work, and this is a case where hopefully the accused misconduct of a handful will not create issues with tens of thousands of good, hardworking people doing the right thing to make Michigan a better state. With that, I'll stop and see what questions you may have.
Governor, were you questioned as part of this investigation, and if so, by whom?
With respect to this investigation, I have not been questioned or been interviewed at this point in time. Our office has been cooperating, as I mentioned earlier, with this investigation.
Nick Monaco, Sinclair Broadcast Group. Do you believe these three government employees failed Michigan families?
Well, again, I don't want to speculate. This is a process of investigations going on. We already had one of the individuals under investigation with respect to Stephen Bush, and that process hadn't been completed yet. We're going to continue with that investigation and also include the investigation of Mike Prisby.
Governor Jonathan Carlson with WXYZ Detroit. With all due respect, some people, including some lawmakers in Washington, have called on you and some people in your administration to face charges. Do you think that is still fair, and do you think other people should face charges in addition to the people that were charged today?
Well, again, that's the point of having these investigations happen and cooperating with them. There's the investigation by the Attorney General, there's an investigation by the U.S. Attorney. And again, we're fully cooperating and supporting those two investigations in particular.
Governor, if I can follow up on that question, do you feel you did anything criminally wrong here?
Again, I don't even want to get into that kind of speculation. I don't believe so. And so the point here is this is much my point about how I ended this, about saying I'm concerned about how this could go over with 47,000 employees in the state of Michigan that are working hard every day to do good things. And so I think it's critically important that these investigations go forward, that as they find potential issues of wrongdoing, they be brought forward, that we go through the due diligence and the due process of determining what actually happened, because people deserve the truth and deserve the answers. They want accountable government, and they should get it. At the same time, I also want to make sure that we're not casting a cloud over tens of thousands of state employees that are working very hard. And the same thing would be true of anyone in government service, because they're playing important roles helping people.
Governor, do you know how many state employees have been advised to retain criminal defense attorneys? And what do you say to a large number of state employees that are starting to voice that they're very, very worried that this net is going to catch them, they could be charged, and how do you deal with potential morale issues?
That is one of the challenge points, and that's what one of the issues Director Cray's doing as we speak. Again, he's making sure he's communicating with the DEQ, both in terms of addressing the suspension issues, but also talking to employees about making sure that we continue to do good work for the state of Michigan, for the people of Michigan.
Governor, ML Elric, Fox 2 News in Detroit. Clearly there were bureaucratic breakdowns in this process, but what was your reaction when you heard that there may be criminality?
Well, it takes it to a whole new level, just as I said. Again, you never want to see that happen. You never want to see a situation like Flint happen, but to say there are criminal charges. But again, these are the initial parts of this. These are charges, and we need to let due process work.
Were you surprised?
Again, I'm not going to speculate on all this. What I want to do is make sure we're following through to make sure the investigations are cooperated with fully, and we get the truth for the citizens, and we see justice is done.
Governor, as I understand it, the state has to provide legal representation during civil proceedings involving state employees, but is not required to during criminal proceedings. Now that these employees have been criminally charged, do you think the state should continue to pay for their legal representation, and if so, why, and if not, why not?
Yeah, to put that in context, our ability to actually suspend them without pay was triggered by the criminal charges being filed as provided under civil service. With respect to the legal counsel question, my understanding is that's a function of the department director, and the way this is being viewed is the investigation is not complete. So those costs are being covered at this point in time, and that was a function of the state police investigation that was previously began back in January. And as those...
Okay, so Governor Snyder responding here, we're not really able to say a whole lot as this investigation is going on from the AG and also the U.S. Attorney into the Flint water crisis that dates back a number of years. But bottom line, the headline here, he says, if these felony charges are true, he says it takes this to a whole new level. Gene Casares, let me just bring you in really quickly here to put a button on all of this and to remind us, what's at stake? What's happened?
Right. Well, prison is at stake for these 3 employees that have been charged, and it takes it to another level because the lead just didn't get into the pipes, which got in the drinking water. That they knew or should have known what was being done. That they tampered with the evidence. That they changed reports, and led the people of the community of Flint that they must be wrong, seeing the dirty water, smelling, having medical issues. I mean, it was.
Changing the water level, changing the documents, correct?
Yes. Falsifying, prosecutors say falsifying, changing the documents to show, you can tell the community, there's not too much lead in your water. You're okay. You're fine. Prosecutors are saying that's what they did. Misconduct in office, that they misled the community, that they allowed the water to be that way. And these are 5-year felonies. 4-year felonies, very serious. And in regard to the question about, could the governor be charged, it's sort of interesting because in the civil complaint, there are so many defendants, one being the governor, but the director of the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, water quality analyst, water treatment specialist, director of communications, emergency manager, director of public works. Yeah. So when they say the charges are not finished yet, because that's what prosecutors said, it could widen.
And that could widen. Gene Casares, thank you. We promise we'll stay on what's happening there in Flint.
All right. I really wanted them to stay with this, and I'm going to check to see if MSNBC has further footage on this. Okay, MSNBC had some additional footage, which I'm going to record now.
Governor, a lot of the speculation, obviously, and the observations have been around you, but now that we've got charges against 3 state and 1 city employee there, do you feel a level of vindication that you didn't do anything wrong?
Well, I think what I've said consistently from the beginning is this tragic situation was the result of bad decisions by bureaucrats. Again, I always described it in terms of people lacking common sense. This puts it in the context of criminal behavior. In either case, there's a tragic situation that's happened. Now we just need to wait and see, let due process work to see was it actually criminal or was it just poor decision making? And I'm not looking for vindication. This is about getting to the truth, getting to accountability.
All right, last question, Zach from Governor.
Governor, have the text messages from your staff's cell phones either been obtained by the investigating group with the Attorney General or via lawsuits, and have those been provided if they were requested?
I can't specifically answer that. We've been doing a lot on document requests. But if you ask me, we're literally in tens of thousands of emails and other documents. How broad that is, I assume it's fairly broad, but I can't specifically answer your question.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.
All right, so that's all the questions he took, but I still wish that somebody had asked the question, why aren't you guys convening a special session of your legislature in order to address opening up that rainy day fund to get the pipes in the city of Flint replaced? Because that is the only thing that is going to remedy the current situation. I'm not saying make it right, but make the situation livable. So I guess somebody else is going to have to run him down on that one.